Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaranjari Jaya Girivaranjari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivarandhari Jaya Girivarandhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivarandhari Jaya Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की गौर प्रेमानंदे. Hare Krishna. So welcome to Bhaktivedanta. It's Sunday morning Caitanya-Caritāmṛta class. We are reading from the Madhya-lilā, chapter number 13, and today's text is text number 156. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Yadavera Vipaksha Yata Dushta Kamshapaksha Taha Ami Kilun Shabakshaya Ache Dui Chari Jana Taha Mari Vrindavana Ailama Ami Janiha Nishchaya. Yadavera Vipaksha Yata Dushta Kamsha Paksha Taha Ami Kelun Shabakshaya Ache Dui Chari Jana Taha Mari Vrindavana Ailama Ami Janiha Nishchaya. Yadavera Vipaksha Yata Dushta Kamsha Paksha Taha Ami Kelun Shabakshaya Ache Dui Chari Jana Taha Mari Vrindavana Ailama Ami Janiha Nishchaya. Yadavera Vipaksha Yata Dushta Kamsha Paksha Taha Ami Kelun Shabakshaya Ache Dui Chari Jana Taha Mari Vrindavana Ailama Ami Janiha Nishchaya. Yadavera vipaksha yata dushta kamsha paksha. Taha ami kelun shabakshaya. Acha dui chari jana taha mari vrindavana. Ailama ami janiha nischaya. Yadavera vipaksha yata dushta kamsha paksha. Taha ami kailun shabakshaya. Ache dui chari jana taha mari vrindavana. Ailama ami janiha nischaya. Mataji. Yadavera vipaksha yata dushta kamsha paksha. Taha ami kelun shabakshaya. Ache dui chari jana taha mari vrindavana. Ailama ami janiha nischaya. Yadavera vipaksha. All the enemies of the Yadu dynasty. Yata, all. Dushta, mischievous. Kamsapaksha, the party of Kamsa. Taha, them. Ami, I. Kailun Shabakshaya, have annihilated all. Ache, there are still. Dui chari jana, 2 or 4 demons. Taha mari, after killing them. Vrindavana, to Vrindavan. Ailama ami, I am coming very soon. Janiha nischaya, please know it very well. Translation. I have already killed all the mischievous demons who are enemies of the Yadu dynasty. Please repeat. And I have also killed Kamsa and his allies. However, there are 2 or 4 demons still living. I want to kill them. And after doing so, I shall very soon return to Vrindavan. Please know this for certain. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Just as Krishna does not take a step away from Vrindavan, Krishna's devotee also does not like to leave Vrindavan. However, when he has to tend to Krishna's business, he leaves Vrindavan. After finishing his mission, a pure devotee returns home, back to Vrindavan, back to Godhead. Krishna assured Radharani that after killing the demons outside Vrindavan, he would return. I am coming back very soon, he promised, as soon as I have killed the few remaining demons. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'd just like to ask for the devotees to please give their blessings so that we can share something on this very intimate pastime of the Lord dancing at Rath Yatra. It's a very confidential pastime that Lord Chaitanya is depicting here, dancing in front of the cart of Lord Jagannath, at the same time meditating on this conversation that's taken place between Radha and Krishna at Kurukshetra. The translation again, so this is Krishna speaking to Radharani. I've already killed all the mischievous demons who are enemies of the Yadu dynasty, and I've also killed Kamsa and his allies. However, there are 2 or 4 demons still living. I want to kill them, and after doing so, I shall very soon return to Vrindavan. Please know this for certain. So Krishna is convincing Radharani that, don't worry, I'll be back. I'm coming soon. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport has explained how just as Krishna doesn't take a step away from Vrindavan, Krishna's devotee also does not like to leave Vrindavan. However, when he has to tend to Krishna's business, he leaves Vrindavan. So our founder Acharya, our Srila Prabhupada, did exactly this. He was in Vrindavan. He didn't really want to leave Vrindavan for his own, when we think about his own Krishna consciousness, his own spiritual life is going pretty well in Sri Vrindavan Dham. But he had to tend to Krishna's business. And Krishna's business, which was the order given to him by his Guru Maharaj, was to leave India and preach Krishna consciousness to the English-speaking Western world. So Srila Prabhupada left. Even in his final year of his pastimes on this earth, in 1977, Srila Prabhupada, when he was very sick, his body was very sick, very frail, his body was pretty much just a thin layer of skin on top of bones. And at that time, he left India one more time thinking that actually I've regained some health. He found a bit of energy and he thought, okay, let me go to London and then let me go to America to encourage all the devotees in the West again. So he came to London, and after coming to London and after spending some time here at Bhaktivedanta Manor, Srila Prabhupada didn't then go to America because his health deteriorated even more, and then went back to Vrindavan to to leave this world. When Srila Prabhupada came here on that final trip, he was very excited to see Ghanshyam Prabhu, who is now Bhakti Tirtha Swami. When Ghanshyam Prabhu at that time came to see Srila Prabhupada was very excited to see him because of the preaching efforts that were being made in the Eastern European bloc. So in this Eastern European bloc, Ghanshyam Prabhu, Bhakti Tirtha Swami was distributing books, taking on all types of risks, all types of dangers, facing all types of obstacles, but so dedicated to his spiritual master, so dedicated to Srila Prabhupada. And when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj met Srila Prabhupada here at the manor, Tamal Krishna Maharaj brought Bhakti Tirtha Swami to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada embraced Bhakti Tirtha Swami. And he embraced him, he was rubbing his head, and tears were coming from Prabhupada's eyes, and saying to Bhakti Tirtha Swami that just like my Guru Maharaj pushed me, I am pushing all of you. And he was just so happy and embracing Bhakti Tirtha Swami with tears rolling down his eyes, just so grateful for what his disciple had done and was doing to push on, like it says here, Krishna's business. And to push on Krishna's business, all types of activities are undertaken. And this is quite a famous story, and many devotees know this. And I just read recently that afterwards there's another exchange that happened, which was that after seeing this embrace, after seeing this exchange between Srila Prabhupada and Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, Tamal Krishna Maharaj encouraged Bhakti Tirtha Swami to then give a report of what's been happening in the Eastern European countries in terms of the preaching effort. So he was encouraging. Sorry, I lost my trail of thought. Yeah, he was encouraging Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj to give the report. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was encouraging Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj to give the report, what's been happening. And so while Bhakti Tirtha Swami sat down, he started to read the report. And as he started to read the report, he noticed that Srila Prabhupada was somewhat indifferent. He was somewhat indifferent. Prabhupada was looking here, looking there, talking to one devotee, talking to another devotee. Maharaj carried on to read. And at one point, Srila Prabhupada just said to Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, Krishna is the doer. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj realized straight away that actually what is Srila Prabhupada trying to tell him? And Srila Prabhupada was trying to tell Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj that actually everything is done by Krishna. We actually don't do anything. Krishna does everything. And if we are receptive and if we are sincere, Krishna will use us as an instrument. Just like he said to Arjuna in the 11th chapter of the Gita, "Oh Savya Sachi, oh great shooter of arrows, just become an instrument of my plan. Become an instrument of my will." So Krishna is the doer. Krishna does everything. And if we are sincere, Krishna will use us as an instrument of his plan. Krishna will use us as an instrument of his will. And when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj heard Prabhupada say, Krishna is the doer, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was ecstatic. He was so happy. He was so happy that he received this guidance from Srila Prabhupada. He received this instruction from Srila Prabhupada. This can only happen if one is spiritually secure in their relationship with Guru and Krishna. See, if one is not spiritually secure in their relationship with Guru and Krishna, what could happen is one hears this and one may think, oh my God, Srila Prabhupada's rejecting me. Srila Prabhupada is not listening to my report. Srila Prabhupada just told me off. He told me that Krishna is the doer and that I didn't do it. But Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was so secure in his relationship with Guru, so secure in his relationship with Krishna, that when he heard a somewhat chastisement from his spiritual master, he could hear it lovingly, affectionately, and hear it in a way that can positively influence his spiritual life. So sometimes we may go through challenges in our spiritual life, we may go through difficulties in our spiritual life, and rather than always blaming the other person, or blaming the situation, or maybe even blaming Krishna himself, this can happen, maybe we can just take a look inside to see, actually, is there something missing from within me that's not able to accept the love of Guru and the love of Krishna? The relationship that Guru and Krishna are or have opened up their eyes, arms and hands to. They've opened up their hearts. Are we willing to embrace that? Here in these pages of the Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, Lord Chaitanya is dancing in front of Jagannath, and he's meditating on this conversation. When the gopis see Krishna in Kurukshetra, see, there was a solar eclipse. So we know the story. There was a solar eclipse, and because there was a solar eclipse, everyone was going to Kurukshetra for a pilgrimage. Everyone from everywhere was going. So the residents of Dwarka were going, all the different cities were going, and also the residents of Vrindavan were also going to Kurukshetra. Where was Krishna? Was he with the Brajvasis or was he with the Dwarkavasis when going to Kurukshetra? The Dwarkavasis. Yeah, he was with the Dwarkavasis at that time. Why was he not in Vrindavan? Because when he was a young child, what happened? Who came on the chariot to get Krishna? Akrura. Akrura, yes, thanks, Dayamay. Akrura came to get Krishna. What does Akrura mean? One who is not cruel. So Akrura was sent to get Krishna from Vrindavan and go to Mathura to kill Kamsa, to go and kill Kamsa. So Akrura, after Krishna's childhood pastimes, or even when Krishna was a child, was sent to Vrindavan to get Krishna, to bring him to Mathura, and after bringing him to Mathura, to kill Kamsa. So when Akrura was taking Krishna, the gopis were having none of it. They were like, no way, you cannot take Krishna. Because they could just see their very life being taken before them. To take Krishna was just to take away their own life, to take away everything that they live for, every minute or every second or every fraction of a second of every minute of the day was all about Krishna. These are the gopis that were cursing Brahma. How could you create an eyelid? Because by creating an eyelid we have to blink, and when we blink, for that moment we cannot see Krishna. So these gopis are totally infatuated, totally in love with Krishna, and they had to see Krishna leave on a chariot because Akrura came. They did not want Krishna to go. They were willing to give up their lives. They were willing to lie down in front of the chariot and just say, okay, if you want to go, you'll have to go over our bodies if you're going to take Krishna away. But Krishna told them, I will come back. So with that hope, with that belief, okay, Krishna will come back. Krishna left. Many of the Brajbasis went to Mathura with Krishna, including Nanda Maharaj. They went to Mathura to witness Krishna kill Kamsa. And after Krishna killed Kamsa, the Brajbasis thought, okay, job done, chalo, let's go back home. Let's go back to Vrindavan. But at that point, the Yadus said to Krishna, okay, you are ours. You are a Yadu. You belong to us. You are the 8th son of Devaki that was predicted. You would kill Kamsa. So you've now killed Kamsa. You stayed with your foster parents in Vrindavan so that you could be taken care of during these years, so that you were not killed by Kamsa yourself. But now that you've done your business, you've killed Kamsa, you now stay with us. And Krishna is in such a difficult dilemma. Such a difficult dilemma. So it was left to Krishna to tell Nanda Maharaj that actually I'm not coming back to Vrindavan. I'm not coming back. I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to be with the Yadus here, because the demons, all of Kamsa's allies, which Krishna is talking about in this verse, there are still 2 or 4 demons still living. I've killed Kamsa and his allies. So these allies, he said, these allies, I've killed Kamsa, but all of Kamsa's allies will now want revenge. And because they will want revenge, it will be better that Nanda Maharaj, you go back to Vrindavan, I stay here and I take care of this business of killing all of these allies of Kamsa. Otherwise, all of Vrindavan will be in danger. Everyone in Vrindavan will be in danger. Vrindavan itself will be in danger. Nanda Maharaj is just so distraught. He cannot believe what's happening to him. The thought of losing his child, and not an ordinary child, to lose Krishna. I mean, even the thought of losing a child, it's the hardest thing that one could ever experience in this world. I remember I was on Harinam a few years ago. I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and I was on Harinam, and I had my daughter. I was with my 2 daughters, and my older daughter was with her friend, and I was holding my younger daughter's hand, and I could see that my older daughter, she was sort of in the crowd, and then the Harinam started to move, and then at one point I couldn't see her, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm in central London. This is the craziest, probably the craziest place on planet Earth on a Saturday night, and I cannot see my daughter. And I was looking, and I just couldn't see her. I was just, and I cannot begin to explain, but for those few seconds, which then became minutes, my body was just absolutely shaking, distraught, just thinking the worst. And if you've watched Hollywood movies, you're thinking all sorts of crazy things that could have happened. And then I asked one of my devotee friends, I won't say his name because he might not want me to be shared in this embarrassment, and his daughter was with my daughter, and I said, hey, do you know where the girls are? And he is the most chilled out devotee, most relaxed devotee ever. And even he had a look on his face like, they're not there. And when he looked like that's when I thought, okay, now things are really bad. Because normally he's the one that just makes me feel like life's cool, life's alright, relax a bit. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulanand Bhagwan ki jai, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Bhagwan ki jai, Gaur Nitai Bhagwan ki jai. So he looked distraught, and that's when I thought that things are really bad, because I'm usually the one who's panicking and he's usually the one relaxed. And then he went right to the front of the Harinam, right to the front, and then he calls me, he said, I've got them. And I was like, phew, what a relief. And suddenly my body started to calm down. My younger daughter says, can we get some crisps now? Just like totally oblivious to what's going on. But just the thought of your child being taken from you, and that was for a few seconds. Maybe it became a few minutes by the time the whole, we went to the back, he went to find them. Maybe a few minutes, but those few minutes, it was just panic. But just the thought of the child being taken from you, or not being visible to me, or something had happened, was just, it's a feeling that cannot be explained. Every atom in the body was just shaken. Everything was shaken. So here's Nanda Maharaj being told by Krishna, look, I'm not coming back. And Nanda Maharaj is feeling absolutely distraught, absolutely shaken. This is just not the plan. This is not what was meant to happen. And Krishna lovingly and gently but firmly explained to Nanda Maharaj that the best course of action is that now I stay here and you go back to Vrindavan. Nanda Maharaj says, okay, no problem. If you're going to be here, we'll also come here. We'll also come to Mathura and let's just all be together. If you have to be here, no problem, we'll also be together. And Krishna's like, we are gopas, we are the cowherds, there's no space for grazing. Where are we going to graze all the cows? Here. And then Nanda Maharaj is like, okay, fine, I'll go back to Vrindavan, but I'll come back. I'll keep coming back and we can regularly visit each other. And then Krishna had to lovingly but firmly tell Nanda Maharaj that actually, if you come here, then it will become obvious that I'm yours. But let me just stay here in Mathura, you go back to Vrindavan, and then it's just that I have nothing to do with Vrindavan. And if I have nothing to do with Vrindavan, none of the demons, none of Kamsa's allies will try and attack Vrindavan. So this is a very interesting lesson of how to have a difficult conversation with someone, isn't it? Like, so many times we might shy away from a difficult conversation. Like, oh my God, I don't want to have to speak about this, or I don't want to have to be the one to tell someone this. But Krishna is teaching us that actually we can have a difficult conversation if it's done with love. We can have a difficult conversation if we are sincere. We can have a difficult conversation if we can really empathize with how the other person must be feeling. And we can have a difficult conversation if we are connected to that person. And Krishna is totally connected with Nanda Maharaj. Krishna is totally empathizing with how Nanda Maharaj is feeling. Krishna is really expressing to Nanda Maharaj how much he loves Vrindavan and how much he loves all the residents of Vrindavan. And in that conversation, Nanda Maharaj reluctantly understands that we have to do Krishna's will. And it's the same for us. Sometimes we have to reluctantly accept and understand Krishna's will and Krishna's plan. We may be going through situations in our life and just looking at Krishna and saying, does it have to be like this? Like, can't it be a little bit different? Can't you just make it a little bit easier? Can't you just change it just a little bit? You know that other person, Krishna, you are the super soul in their heart. Can't you just change their heart a little bit? Can't you just do that? And just like Krishna says to Nanda Maharaj, it's kind of like, I know this is what you want. You want me to come back to Vrindavan, or you want to come and regularly visit, or you want to come and live here with me. But actually what's best is what I think is best. And what Krishna thinks is best is, you go back and I'm going to stay here. And it's so painful for Nanda Maharaj, but it's what's best. How do we know it's what's best? Because Krishna said so. And we'll notice in our lives that Krishna will arrange situations that Krishna just makes it clear what's best. And we probably don't agree with it. It's probably like, why? Why? Like, it could be different. You could change their heart. And Krishna could be looking at you saying, yes, I could change their heart, but I won't. Because this is what's best. You may have to go through something. You may have to go through some difficulty. And the residents of Vrindavan had to go through this separation from Krishna. And this separation from Krishna is exhibited mostly by the gopis, and in particular, or should we say, at the height, by Srimati Radharani. She's going through this. It's interesting. It's suffering and separation, but the suffering is full of bliss. The suffering is full of bliss. Why is the suffering full of bliss? Because it's transcendental suffering. It's the suffering of not having Krishna, but that suffering of not having Krishna means you're always with Krishna, because you're always remembering Krishna. Krishna's within our hearts. So if our suffering is transcendental, we'll be feeling joyful. That's one way of understanding. And if our suffering is not joyful, then we know that our suffering is not on the transcendental platform, it's something on the material platform. We maybe have some sochati and kankshati, we want something, we're desiring something, we are hankering something. And if we're not getting what we're hankering for and we're feeling suffering, we won't be blissed out. So we can tell. We can tell what's happening just by noticing the symptoms in our own body, just by being connected to how we're feeling. And the gopis are feeling this separation. Krishna stays in Mathura, and then we know that the demons are attacking Mathura. So then Krishna transports all of Mathura to Dwarka. And then they become Dwarkavasis. And the Dwarkavasis are, in one sense, very intrigued, we could say, by the love of the Rajvasis. Because Krishna is with the Dwarkavasis, he's with the Yadus. But they notice that Krishna is sometimes daydreaming, Krishna sometimes goes into his own world. Krishna's just thinking of the residents of Vrindavan. So they know that there's something really special about Krishna and his relationship and his connection with Vrindavan. There's something going on. But at the same time, they know, but they don't want to know. We kind of, on a material platform, we call this denial. It's like you know something, but you don't want to know it, or you just want to push it aside. So it's kind of like they know that whatever's going on, or whatever's gone on in Krishna's childhood, and whatever's going on right now in Krishna's heart with the residents of Vrindavan is something really special, something really intimate. And at the same time, they don't want to know, and they actually don't want Krishna to know anymore. It's part of this transcendental lila. So they don't want Krishna to know or remember the joy and the love of Vrindavan, because if Krishna remembers the joy and the love of Vrindavan, he might go back. So in their transcendental, or should we say transcendental worry, they don't want Krishna to leave them and go back to Vrindavan. But there's Krishna, who's kind of in a difficult situation, because now he can't talk about what's most intimate, what's most confidential in his heart. He can't talk about how much he's missing Vrindavan. He can't talk about all his pastimes there. He can't talk about his relationships there. And that's what's always live for him inside. That's always what's going on for him inside, the residents of Vrindavan Dham. So Krishna can't speak to anyone about what's going on for him in his heart. Who's there? Balaram is there and Mother Rohini is there. So they were there from Vrindavan. They were there with Krishna in Dwarka. So, he can speak to his brother, he could speak to Mother Rohini, but this can only be done privately. But it's not like something that he can't express himself, he can't be himself, because he can't bear to also hurt the Yadus. He doesn't want the Yadus to also feel hurt, because the Yadus love him so much and the Brajbasis love him so much. So there's this kind of tension because the Yadus don't want Krishna to remember Vrindavan anymore. But one day the Dwarkavasis just think, okay, look, we've been denying this, suppressing this, trying to pretend it's not happening for long enough. They approach Mother Rohini and they ask her, all right, can you tell us a little bit about Krishna in Vrindavan? What is it? What is this about? What is it about Vrindavan that's making Krishna just go into his own world? It's like he's with us, but he's not with us. What is it? What's going on? So Mother Rohini says, okay, I'll tell you, but let's make sure Krishna and Balaram are not here. So Krishna and Balaram go out somewhere, and Mother Rohini tells Subhadra, the sister, okay, look, you stay by the door, you stay here, and you make sure that Krishna and Balaram don't come. And if they come, you just let us know and we'll stop talking about this. So Mother Rohini starts to explain or starts to discuss and starts to, if you like, give Krishna Katha to the residents of Dwarka. And Subhadra is guarding the door. So Subhadra is guarding the door, and then Krishna and Balaram realize what's going on, so they then come and go by the door, and they go one side of Subhadra each. So Subhadra is in the middle, one side is Krishna, and one side is Balaram. So they're now standing by the door. Subhadra didn't do a really good job, you could say, of guarding the door. Because what happened is, when they're hearing the stories of Krishna in Vrindavan, all three of them, Krishna, Balaram and Subhadra, just go into transcendental ecstasy. They go into transcendental ecstasy. Krishna is just like, he's starting to smile, his eyes get bigger, his limbs start to shrink inwards. And we now know this form of Krishna as Jagannath. Yes. So Krishna, Balaram and Subhadra, who are listening to this conversation, they are listening to this conversation of Mother Rohini explaining the ecstasies of Sri Vrindavan Dham, and in their separation, in their Vipralamba, in their separation, they go into transcendental ecstasy. It's like stunned. They're just like, whoo. So they are totally stunned. They go into their transcendental ecstasy, and this, if you like, this ecstatic form of Krishna, Balaram and Subhadra, hearing the pastimes of Vrindavan and in the separation. So Krishna and Balaram are in separation of Vrindavan because they were there and they're hearing it. Subhadra hardly even went to Vrindavan, but just it's like the overflow, the spillage of the ecstasy of Krishna and Balaram. She even feels so ecstatic. So that's why when we're amongst advanced souls, isn't it, when we're amongst really advanced devotees, we start to feel really Krishna conscious? It's like, whoa, it's like, I feel like chanting, I feel like just loving everyone, I feel like I've got no problems with anyone in this world, everyone's a devotee, I can see Krishna in everyone's heart, and Haribol! It's that spillage, that over effect of being amongst a great soul. So Krishna and Balaram are feeling this ecstasy, and Subhadra is therefore also feeling this ecstasy. So Krishna, Balaram and Subhadra, that is Jagannath, Baladeva and Subhadra, it's that ecstatic form of Krishna. And it's that ecstatic form of Krishna, that is being pulled, if you like, on the Rath Yatra cart. And Lord Chaitanya, who comes to experience the Radha Bhava, to experience the feelings of Radharani, the love of Radharani, is just dancing and dancing and dancing in front of the Rath cart. It's just, Lord Chaitanya, he's just dancing in this ecstatic mood of Radharani, seeing Jagannath, seeing Krishna. And Jagannath is reciprocating, because as Lord Chaitanya is dancing in front of Jagannath, Jagannath's cart is moving. And then Radharani, or should we say Lord Chaitanya, in the mood of Radharani, when he hides behind the cart does not move forward. And the cart does not move forward. And Jagannath is therefore, or if you like, Krishna is therefore expressing that actually what takes him from Dwarka to Vrindavan being the Gundicha temple, is the love of Radharani and the love of the gopis. So the cart then stops, and when Lord Chaitanya goes back to the front and starts dancing again, then the cart starts to move again. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya here is dancing at Rath Yatra, and he's dancing at Rath Yatra, and he's thinking of, he's in this mood of Radharani, and Radharani in the previous, and Radharani in the previous texts has been saying to Krishna. Let's just read one of them. You can just read any one of these texts. Let's read, 144, one of the ones you'd have read recently. Here, Krishna, you are certainly a refined gentleman with all good qualities. You are well behaved, soft-hearted and merciful. I know that there is not even a tinge of fault to be found in you, yet your mind does not even remember the inhabitants of Vrindavan. This is only my misfortune and nothing else. This mood of, do you still love us, Krishna? Do you still love the gopis? And Krishna says to Radharani, when he first starts to speak back, he says, in text 149, my dearest Srimati Radharani, please hear me. I am speaking the truth. I cry day and night simply upon remembering all you inhabitants of Vrindavan. No one knows how unhappy this makes me. So this exchange between Radha and Krishna, Radharani sees, so when Krishna, if we go back a little bit, when Krishna then goes with the Dwarkavasis to Kurukshetra, he goes to Kurukshetra because it's the solar eclipse, and he goes on his chariot, and the Brajbasis, they don't have chariots, they have like bullock carts, so they go on their bullock carts and they go to Kurukshetra, and this is where they see Krishna, and this is where we can see this conversation taking place. Do you remember us, Krishna? Do you still love us? Do you even remember Vrindavan? Do you remember Nanda Maharaj? Do you remember Yashoda Mai? Do you remember the Yamuna? Do you remember Keshi Ghat? Do you remember Vrindavan? Do you remember Vrindavan? And Krishna's reassuring Radharani, Krishna's reassuring the gopis that actually I'm always with you. I'm always in Vrindavan. I'm always with you. So Krishna's expressing his love. Krishna's expressing that he's always with them, and the gopis are expressing their love for Krishna. And in one sense, it's this separation and union, but still this union has got separation, because even though they see, the gopis are seeing, Radharani sees Krishna in Kurukshetra, she's so happy that she's been reunited, but still she's feeling separation because she just wants to take Krishna back to Vrindavan. She wants to take Krishna back to the place where their love is most intimately connected. That's where she wants to take Krishna back to. And the Dwarkavasis, after hearing from Mother Rohini the pastimes of Vrindavan, and Krishna becoming stunned, and Balaram becoming stunned, and Subhadra becoming stunned, they start to appreciate the love of the Brajbasis. So another thing we can learn from this is how sometimes we might also be denying something, pushing away something, suppressing something that's actually so obviously there. And once we come face to face with what it is, we may realize it's actually not so bad, and actually it might be ecstatic. Because the fear of something is often less painful than facing whatever that fear actually is. So the Dwarkavasis were so fearful of just even understanding this Vraja Bhav, this Vraja Prem. But when they finally accepted, actually, we just need to go here now. We just need to accept it and understand it. Then actually what happened? They began, those difficult feelings went away, and they actually began to appreciate the love of Vrindavan. And sometimes in our life, we might be facing some fears. Often what happens is we're so afraid of what might be that we don't allow ourselves to grow, because we're just afraid of what might happen, what the consequence might be of me just taking a step forward in my life. This can be really devastating so for example, I have one, so I'm training in psychotherapy, and I have one client, and she lost her mother, and just to get her, just speaking with her, and just to kind of say, and she's now, I've got no purpose now. I was taking care of my mother. She was doing all the if you like, the care for her mum, the physical care, the emotional care. And then when her mum finally passed away, she now feels that she has no life. She has no purpose. And then when I just try and encouraging her a little bit, how would it feel to find your own purpose? How would it feel to find your own life, your own meaning? And all she says is, I can't. And she's kind of stuck, I can't. It's as if that she feels guilty, or as if that the guilt of being able to have a life now that her mum is gone. And also some fear as to, I actually need to have my own life now, because what I was living for is now not the same as what I can live for anymore, because the person I was living for is no longer here. So sometimes just being able to take the next step in our life, the next step in our spiritual growth, can be challenging. It can be difficult. We may need to give up association of devotees that is no longer favorable for us. We may need to accept association of devotees that is favorable for us. So what I mean by that is, we want to be around devotees that are going to increase our enthusiasm to carry out the processes of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. We want to be around devotees that are going to encourage that. And that's the devotee association we want to start to accept. And it might be difficult, because we might be thinking, but I don't get on with those devotees, or I don't know how to connect with those devotees. But we've got to try and just make that endeavor. And sometimes we might be stuck in association where the association that we have might actually not encouraging us in our devotional practice. And maybe we just need to sometimes push out of that. We might need to push out of that. We might need to just change our situation a little bit. And sometimes changing our situation brings us a lot of fear. We might have to change our workplace. We might have to change our friendships. We might have to change the sangha we go to. We might have to change, we might just have to change something. But the idea of change is sometimes just so hard. We might be fearing change. But when we come face to face with it, then we can come to realize that actually I can be with difficult feelings. A lot of the time what we are fearing is just to be with a difficult feeling. Sometimes what we're fearing is, it would be too painful for me to remember that person that I lost. It might just be too painful. So what I'll do is I'll just pretend I didn't lose them, and just make myself really busy that I don't have time. But then all we're doing is suppressing. But when we can accept that Krishna is taking care of me, when we can really appreciate that Krishna loves us, then we know that there is no feeling that can come into my body, my mind and my heart that Krishna cannot take care of. If He's willing to take care of all our sinful reactions, He's willing to take care of all of them, then surely He can take care of a few difficult feelings in our body, in our heart, in our minds. And sometimes just coming face to face with them, we actually come to realize that, wow, I can really grow. And maybe if I take this next step in my spiritual life, if I take this next step in my spiritual life, which has difficulties, it has challenges, it has obstacles, people around me may not understand it. People around me may even criticize me. But if we sincerely, genuinely want to get closer and closer to the lotus feet of Radha Gokulananda, then they will help us. They will help us. And no difficult feeling will be that difficult if we take shelter of them. So the Dwarkavasis started to appreciate the Brajbasis. And Krishna, part of his ecstasy, yes, he was ecstatic at hearing the glories of Vrindavan. He was ecstatic at hearing the appreciation and the love of the gopis, and he was also just so ecstatic that the Dwarkavasis were appreciating the Brajbasis. They were just appreciating, and he loved the Dwarkavasis, he loved the Brajbasis, and they were appreciating. There was that tension was no longer there. So it's just like a parent. I have two daughters, and when my two daughters fight with each other, it breaks my heart. I'm just thinking, there's just two of you. Do you have to? I mean, is it worth arguing? But when they're playing nicely together, they're being kind to each other, they're sharing things, it's just so joyful for a parent to see the two children just getting along, they're just being happy and they're loving each other. So when Srila Prabhupada, when he left Vrindavan to do Krishna's business, and the devotees asked him, "Oh, how can we show our love for you? How can we show our love for you? You did all this for us. How can we show our love for you?" And Srila Prabhupada said, "You can show your love for me by how you cooperate with each other. You can show your love for me by how you all cooperate with each other." So Krishna is showing this cooperation of the Dwarkavasis and the Brajbasis just brought him into ecstasy. So if we want to please Guru, if we want to please Srila Prabhupada, then we can see, actually I can please him by cooperating with the devotees around me. And here Krishna is convincing Radharani that just know for certain, I will come back. So Lord Chaitanya is dancing, the rath is moving, and in this conversation, and in this part of the conversation, Krishna is saying, I will come back. I will soon return to Vrindavan after I kill the two or four demons that are still living. So, we may have 2 or 4 demons still living within our hearts. They may still be there. You know, that envy, that lust, that anger, that greed, whatever those enemies are that are still living. But Krishna says, I want to kill them, and after doing, I shall return to Vrindavan. So for us also, Krishna can kill these demons as Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is dancing at the Rath Yatra, and he's showing us that in Kali Yuga, this Harinam Sankirtan, this chanting of the holy name, this giving Krishna to others, through this process of Harinam, through chanting the holy name and giving Krishna to others, we are then releasing these demons from within our heart and cleansing the heart, and then we can also go back to Sri Vrindavan Dham. So, just like to thank you all for your kind attention. It's 8:45. I'm not sure what time we finish. Is it? I don't know. But does anyone have any comments, questions, corrections? Yes, Prabhuji. Do we have a microphone? Thank you. It's at the back, yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the very nice class, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you mentioned that Krishna can kill these demons within our hearts. Sometimes, I wonder how can we identify these demons? Because oftentimes we can go about our lives, we're doing the chanting, we're following the principles, and we think, okay, I'm satisfied, everything is okay. But then sometimes it can be quite hard to see within ourselves, like what we might be holding on to, or whether what do I need to do to take the next step? So do you have any advice on how we can identify what it is that we need to do to take the next step?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So I think there's two things there. One is how to identify the demons, and then how to know how to take the next step. When we're in good, is this mic working? Haribol? It's working, yeah. When we're in good devotee association, then naturally these things can come about. So in terms of, if we could say, identifying the demons and how to take the next step, even if we go back to, maybe it wouldn't say a demon, but even if it's like a lesson, identifying a lesson, then Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, when he was reading that report, and Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna is the doer. And there was a lesson there. And so and that lesson then became so important for Maharaj, because what was going to happen is he starts to do so many wonderful things in Krishna consciousness, becomes so famous, but he's got this instruction that Krishna is the doer, this lesson that Krishna is the doer. And often we find that when we're around advanced devotees that know us, that love us, and that have our best interest at heart, that know us, that love us, have our best interest at heart, and they're spiritually mature, they're advanced, they can see. When we're around devotees who have these qualities, they know us, they love us, they have our best interest at heart, then either directly or indirectly, what happens is they can bring up our so-called demons. It's so interesting that sometimes I can give one example. I was once driving Chandramouli Maharaj, and one of my biggest demons is I never think I'm wrong. It's like, I'm never wrong, everyone else is wrong, I'm always right. That's just my thing. So I was driving Maharaj, and just outside, we come out of the manor, where the McDonald's is, and we're taking a right coming out, and then I blocked this car who wanted to come straight, and I blocked the car, and the car was hooting at me, and then I just kind of went, and I was saying to Maharaj, look, these guys hooting, and he's like, whose fault was it? I was like, oh, their fault, totally their fault. And then we carried on driving, and when we got to the big roundabout, by then he said, that was your fault. And then I was like, no, Maharaj, I was still in denial. No, Maharaj, I took the right. I was just taking the right. The road's small, and he should have waited for me. And then he started to say, nothing's my fault. It's like this song, nothing's my fault, everything's their fault. He just, and I was just like, okay, this is, and just by being, and he knew exactly he just knew that I can't take it when I'm wrong, and I'm going to blame everyone else. I'm going to just blame everyone. But he knew what to do, like how to just kind of extract from me the understanding that actually I could be wrong, and I could just take the humble position of understanding that I'm wrong here, and I could have just actually, Maharaj, I was wrong, I shouldn't have done that, that was me. And when we're around advanced devotees, then naturally what will happen is, and if they know us well, they'll know how to extract it out of us, and because they love us, they won't leave us shaken. like Srila Prabhupada, he embraced Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. He rubbed his head. He told him how happy he is. He said, I'm pushing you just the way my Guru Maharaj pushed me. And then later he said, Krishna is the doer. But Maharaj was just so understanding that Srila Prabhupada loves me. And so him telling me this isn't him rejecting me. Srila Prabhupada telling me this is just another expression of his love. So the lesson with this can be, can I seek out devotees and how to, like Krishna says, that you seek a spiritual master, you seek spiritual master and render service. Inquire submissively, he says in the 4th chapter, and render service. So if we seek out the association of devotees who are tasting Krishna, Param Dishra Nivartate, who've got that higher taste, who are tasting Krishna. And if we serve them, then when we serve the devotees who are tasting Krishna, then they bless us, then they are happy with us, and then they want to help us and guide us. And that way the demons become extracted, we become, if you say, face to face with them, and then we can overcome them. I hope that makes some sense. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Paramakruna Prabhu?
Thank you for the class, Prabhu. In this verse, and also especially in the purport, Prabhupada is pointing out that ultimately devotees should return back to the spiritual world, to Vrindavan. In other places, and also we hear of devotees, they want to remain here in this material world to continue preaching, to save the world. And there is even prayer by Prahlad Maharaj that, I'm concerned about the people who are suffering. So then, how to understand this? Should we desire to go back to Godhead, or no, I remain here in this material world, preach, serve? Is that a higher goal? Is that a better goal?
Yeah. I think it's interesting. We were at a retreat last week, and Chandramouli Maharaj was asked this question. I said, like someone asked him, Maharaj, I'll give you 4 options. I can't remember all 4 of them. 1, would you like to go to Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan? 2, would you like to go to Mayapur Dham at the end of this life? Or 3, would you come back as Chandramouli Maharaj, serving Srila Prabhupada? And he said, I'll do all of them. The option is all of them. And I think what this means is that if we are dedicated to serving Krishna and loving Krishna and wanting to be with Krishna, then we're happy that whatever Krishna desires for us is going to be Vrindavan. Whether it's going back to Godhead, whether it's serving him in the material, serving Srila Prabhupada in another universe, preaching, everything is the same, because like it said, I chant here or I chant there. May every step of mine be holy pilgrimage, May every step be a dance. So in one sense, whether we end up going back to Goloka Vrindavan or whether we end up preaching in Srila Prabhupada's mission in another universe, we're going to be ecstatic. We're going to be absolutely happy in that love for Krishna and Prabhupada. So in terms of our desire, sometimes we hear a pure devotee doesn't desire to go back to Vrindavan. They just desire to. The pure devotee just desires to serve. So I think it all comes back down to our constitutional position. Jiva Swarapoi, Krishna Nitya Das. The constitutional position of the living entity is to serve Krishna. And then it's up to Krishna where we serve him. But we just want to serve. Because we want to just fall in love with Krishna. We just want to fall in love with Krishna. And falling in love with Krishna means we just want to serve Krishna. And then it's up to Krishna. Whether I'm here, whether I'm there, it doesn't matter. I just want to be with Krishna. That's my understanding. But this is a question I'd usually ask you. So if you have any Yes, Prayojan Prabhu. Yes. Let someone with Prayojan. Prayojan Prabhu ki jai.
It's in the verse in the Shikshastakam. Natahanam najanam
Nasundaram
nasundaram gavitam vajagadishakamaye mama janmani janmani shware bhavatat bhakti ahetuki tvaye.
Yeah.
Oh Son of Mara, oh my Lord, I don't want beautiful women, I don't want followers, I don't want prestige. All I want is your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. And it's the service that actually is the life wherever you are. If you haven't got service, certainly I can remember that situation. It's devastating. It's the greatest pain actually, and so that's the classic verse on that. In Shikshastika. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, I remember when I was living in the ashram and I had to clean the toilets, which is such a joyful service. And I remember cleaning the toilets, and for me it's like I could never see the joy there. I just felt like I had to get it done. And I remember coming out one day, and Prayojan Prabhu looked at me and he said, "You were cleaning the toilets?" And I said, "Yes, Prabhu." And he said, "It's just nectar, isn't it?" And I was thinking, no, but I was like, yeah, I guess. But Prayojan Prabhu is such a wonderful example of, just really seeing the service as really being with Krishna. Whatever the service is, just to be with Krishna in that service. And yeah, you've always been a good example of that, Prabhu. So thank you. Thank you for reminding me by saying that. Hare Krishna. Yes, Ramana Singha Prabhu.
I think I might have it now. Oh, yeah. The answer that you gave to this, Prabhu, about associating with advanced devotees, because there's a very nice verse in the Bhagavatam which backs that up. Shu 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 shadadanasya Vasudeva kataruchi syanmahat sevya vipra punyatirtha nishevanat. By serving those great devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. For by such service one attains or attains a proclivity or an attraction for the messages of Vasudeva. So that actually is pretty much one of the major points that Gauranga Prabhu made in his class a couple of days ago. He said there are three major things in bhakti. We can just remember these 3 points. One is attraction to the holy name, that's namruchi. Second one is sadhu seva, which is the one that you pointed out, or association with Mahatmas. And the third one is jiva doya, to give the mercy. So I just thank you very much for that. It just connected to me to that verse.
Oh, thank you for sharing also. Thank you. Jai, thank you very much. Shri Caitanya-Caritāmṛta ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you. It's a little bit of nectar for the heart. It was very good.